Hey guys, what's up? You ever feel like different? You ever feel just like super different than everybody? Like in the way that you feel so deeply, maybe? Thinking about this a lot lately. That's the train. It feels like sometimes you're the only one perceiving life the way that you are. And that's true, right? That's completely 100% true. No one's going to be able to view the world and things in it the same way as you. So we are all going to be alone in that way. We can lend our perspective. We could share our glasses and someone can get a glimpse, but without actually walking in your shoes from birth till now, you do have a unique way, a unique pattern of recognizing the world. And that's okay. But when it comes to social situations, it's like you feel like you can be a part of it, but you're always just a little bit on the outside. Because I have thoughts like my friend and I were just talking about this. Like when people say something that's super insulting and they play it off like it's a joke or if it's it's a compliment. And then it gets you thinking am I the overreactor? Is something up with me and how I'm responding or how I'm translating this insult? Because why do I feel the 1,000 fires of suns in my face right now? And I want to unleash the dragon in my chest all over you. And it's because of such deep sadness. I want other people's opinions on this because I'm working on this theory. When the depths of sad, when you've been there, you live in the okay, better example. I recently went on a mushroom trip. I'm gonna be transparent with you. And I was interacting with it in a way it was showing me a lot of self, about self. And in my mind's eye, it was showing me that I'm this jester. I'm just this jester, with the big hat and the little jingle bells, and but at the same time, I was hysterically crying. But I had this, I know, it's kind of freaky, but it was so comforting because it was this acceptance that, I'm sad. I am sad. I'm a sad person. I'm sad. I've had sad experiences. That I've had sad. I know sadness. Me and sadness are I'm not surprised by it. I am perpetually a sad girl. Sad girl. But having accepted that about myself, I still am enjoying life. I love life. But I am the majoritarily sad. Even when I'm doing stuff and I'm laughing and I'm having a good time, I'm not dwelling in the sad. It's very hard to explain. It's it's there. It's your state of being, but we're happy people as well. Maybe that's just what life living with depression is like. I don't really know, because at this point, I feel great. I wake up every morning, with a will to live. Of course, I still need to kind of cling to my little routines and structures that get me to move that ball, because if I don't start moving the ball, it will not roll down the hill, and eventually it'll be harder for me to push it at all. Then I'll be pushing uphill the rest of the day. So, you learn to work with it. You learn that, yeah, I'm sad. It's hard to do things sometimes. But, like, the acceptance of that, the acceptance of, I've had a very sad life, I've had a very scary, whatever, living things, intertwined with a lot of beauty as well. So, but it's brought me to this state of being now in my life where, like, yeah, it's very easy for me to, like, I've always been sensitive. I always have been. But now it's like this level of, like, it's not really anger. Like, yes, that's the emotion you feel when someone starts stomping all over your sensitivities, right? And the dragon inside is like, Rah! But it's actually because it's trying to protect the sadness in you. Because sadness can be more debilitating than anger. Anger can be funneled into passion and action and change. So I feel like anger and sad need to go together, or else you'll just be sad. When I'm angry and sad, it makes me recognize where I need change, where I need transformation, where I need a boundary, where I need to cut someone out, where I need, it's a message for me. And I think I used to be really upset about that the anger comes, because I'm like, I don't want to be an angry person, and I don't want to yell at people. You don't need to be an angry person and also yell at people to validate your anger. Anger is the message for what the injustice, right? And yes, it's okay that you're not a tough guy. You're not a tough, angry person. You're not going to yell at somebody, but you do still need to validate that anger message that's coming up in defense of your sad. If you got sad in you, I say embrace it. I have no downfalls with that lifestyle. Unless I stayed in an environment with people that were unaccepting of who I am. Like, now we're at a point, like, yeah, it's moving forward. Because I kind of lost my train of thought. Anyway, kind of going into talking, I feel like this is just chalking up to be daily talks about authenticity and accepting the full spectrum of self, because we look at sadness and other unfavorable emotions as exactly that, unfavorable, right? There's something that we want to, like, escape or not have happen, or how can we take the sad and transmute it into happy? And that's great for some situations call for that, but what about just accepting the sad? You're sad. Yeah. Now what do we need to do to nurture that? Not nurture it like make you more sad, but I mean, like, what is that side telling you? What do we need for you? Maybe it's trying to show you that you are that sensitive. And that's okay. You can't hang out with cutthroat, ruthless people who say backhanded compliments as jokes. You cannot. Why? Because you need to accept your sad. Accept your authenticity. If you are easily sensitive in that way, if you have sad girl energy like I do, then just don't be around it. Why, it doesn't, because when you're around other things like that, like people, like, because I think that sometimes, like, wow, it didn't bother so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, but I'm enraged. That hurt my sad. Somehow that touched my little vulnerable piece, and, right, and then you start comparing and contrasting, and you're like, maybe I'm the problem. Doesn't mean that they're the problem or you're the problem or whatever. You're just in the wrong building. You've got an appointment, a meeting in building A floor 3, but you're in building B, floor 3. So you're on the right floor, but you're in the wrong building. And when it comes to that, you just like look at your address and you'd be like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong building. You wouldn't start self-deprecating. You wouldn't start beating yourself up. You'd go to Google Maps and be like, where's the right building? Right. That's what happens when you accept yourself. You recognize you're just walking into the wrong buildings all day. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just in the wrong place. And that's okay. And there's an answer. There's an answer. Like, you can find the right place. Like, it's really all right. The more you know yourself, the more you accept being alone until you freaking know the right building, the more it becomes clear what the right building is. Now you recognize the buildings are 2 different colors. How did I not recognize that before? I'm in the blue building. I should have been in the red building. It becomes way more obvious. And then you're not second guessing. You're not sitting in the wrong building on the wrong floor being like, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe this is the building I'm supposed to be in. Nothing sounds right and nothing's resonating with me, but I'm pretty sure that the piece of paper said that this was the right building. You know, that's what we do to ourselves. And then we sit in uncomfortable conversations with people that don't respect us. And because we're trying to give respect because we have sad girl energy, so we're like, I'm never going to trample on another person's sad. So you're like overly aware and overly conscientious of it. Meanwhile, they're just stomping all over your sensitivities. And it's not like their fault. It's not something to lash out about. I've done that side of the coin and it really doesn't land because people don't get it. They don't get you. They don't get it. They're like, it's a dog. You know, and that's okay. Why are you arguing with deaf people? Right? Why are you trying to convince somebody to treat you appropriately? But on the same coin, this is where it gets really hard. We also need to advocate for our needs in that way. So we were talking about that today at our little cafe date, and it was really fun. And but we got talking about that, like, so many brain not working today, yesterday and today. But anyway, we were talking about, now I remember, we were talking about how do you advocate, right? Because for me, in my brain, I was telling her this is what I've been working on for the last 7 years. My immediate reaction is, and then say something really, like, inflammatory, you know? But, like, really intelligently, like, try to make somebody look dumb as a defense technique kind of thing. And then just be like, so how is that working out for you? Like, I don't need that in my life because once I do that, you might feel righteous in that moment, but now you've inflamed the other person. Are you ready? Are you ready now to keep continuing building that freaking layer cake? I'm good on all that. So what we talked about today is like some stuff that I've learned these last couple years. My new thing, I really appreciate you. Someone says something really out of pocket, disrespectful, rude, you know, thank you. I appreciate you. And you walk away. Why? Because you appreciate that they showed you their true colors. That's the biggest burn you can ever give somebody. Appreciate you. Thank you for showing me that. It's made my decision way easier about whether or not I'm in the wrong building. You just screamed I'm in the wrong building. Thank you. I appreciate you for letting me know I'm not where I belong. So that's my new thing. Thank you. Thank you for misunderstanding me. Like, thank you. You don't have to say the rest because then they're going to be like, let's argue. Just be like, thanks. No, I really appreciate it. You let me off the hook. I don't got to sit here and talk to you guys for hours. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for revealing your true identity because it's exhausting. for us sensitive girlies to try and figure it out. And then we're like, well, maybe I'm being too sensitive. I don't care anymore. I am too sensitive. But if I have a core group of people in my life that recognize and accept that and don't make me feel any type of way other than loved or that it's a beautiful gift, yeah, I have that little nugget. I have those people. So anyone outside of that, y'all don't matter. If you think I'm too sensitive in a negative way, thank you. I appreciate you, because now I'm not going to waste my effing time with somebody who wants to trample all over my spaghetti. Like, I don't know why, pasta's soft. But like, right? Like, thank you. I didn't just waste months of my time thinking that we were going to be friends, or even, I didn't even waste a minute. Like, I love that. So then that evolved into, so like, how do you recognize that you're walking into the wrong building, like, sooner than before you're already starting to get nipped at by, like, snakes? Like, how do you recognize it before you even see the snake slithering down the hallway? Like that. So we talked about some things like that. And like, I told her that in my opinion, personally, I watch people a lot. So like, I have a stored file cabinet of like mannerisms and actions before people even speak that are like immediate no-nos for me. Because I know what type of person you are. If that's how you're going to act, I know what comes next. Your ego you have such a big ego, we gotta get a barn door for you to come inside. You know, like, so I already know ahead of time these little clues, because I started trying to be mindful of this like a long time ago. Instead of being like all proud of myself, like, oh, I'm really good at arguing with people. I'm really good at like making myself know. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody learns anything after that. Someone's just crying. You're upset because you made them cry, and even though you're the one that was supposed to be feeling upset, and it just ruins everything. So now I'm at this new stage where I'm just observing, I'm taking little notes, and I can just tell right off the bat, this is the amount of me you're going to see, because I'm polite and we're in a public space. But any more than that, that's a no-no. So when you already have this detached observation, you're not going into it with emotions like hope or connection or, ooh, a new friend. You're going in there to observe what they're bringing to the table so that you can start recognizing whether or not you're in the right building or not. Right? So that's what helps also not embody and project anger and frustration in a negative way, in a passive aggressive or an inflammatory way, is that detachment. Like watching and recognizing people just acting. It's just acting. Right? They're just being. And this is who they are. And they're showing you their character. And when you put it in that perspective, you can detach more from it. And you can recognize, like, okay, that dude's ego is as big as a barn door. And how I proceed in this conversation, I know I'm going to have to stay away from this, and that. But I still want to make my point because this is a conversation with people. So how do I do that without inflaming, you know? And it's cutting out the emotion. It's cutting out the being offended, even though I'm sensitive, because it has nothing to do with me, his offense. His offense has nothing to do with me, right? Because it really doesn't. People's offenses towards you has nothing to do with you. That's the type of people they are. That's just who they are. Just watch them. And I'm telling you, what we talked about yesterday or a couple days ago, just about being isolated and alone, oh, it really helps this. It helps so much. Because then you walk in and you're like, shit feels off. But 20 minutes ago when I was alone, everything felt fine. So let me not self-doubt. Let me just start reading the room here. Let me just start observing how people are acting observing how their mannerisms are, their hand gestures, just everything. I'm observing everything. And that's why there's this common joke between my friends and I, which is where I'm like, I know everything, but I also know nothing. Because I don't know everything. Like, I don't know everything about the universe. I don't know about everything. Like, I'm always learning. And I love that, because once you stop learning, you start dying. That's an Albert Einstein quote. So, like, give me all the knowledge. But when I walk into a situation, I am not confused about anything that's going on in that domain, in that little space. Like, whatever's happening in the box, I know what's happening because I'm in it, and this is what I do. So I remember once, there's a difference between hypervigilance and detached observation. And I remember getting really defensive about that when I was doing an outpatient therapy program. It was a women's trauma and addiction unit, and they like called me into the office, and my counselor said, so what's going on with you? And I'm like, what do you mean? I feel great. I'm actually doing way better than I was. And she's like, why do you pick that seat in the room during group therapy? And I'm like, what? I'm like, the chair in the corner? It's like, easy. Because I got visual of the door coming in. There's a door behind the group too that I don't really like, so I like to sit on the side of that door as well. So I'm perfectly catty-cornered. Both my vision is on the doors. And anytime someone walks by and like glances in, I take a minute. And she goes, yeah, that's a trauma learned skill. Like, that's not normal. People don't normally do that when they go into a room and they don't make, and I was blown away because, in my opinion, everybody does that. You go in and you pick a seat according to, okay, let's not go into that because I could be wrong, but she's like, yeah, that's called hypervigilance. However, it didn't sit right with me for so long because I'm not nervous when I'm doing these things. I'm just observing everything. And then if somebody came through that door, not even to be threatening, just walking through the door, the girl who sat her chair closer to that door would have to move. I'm thinking ahead. I don't want to have to move. And also, how else did I just see you call me out of group therapy if I don't have a view of the door window? Like, I just know that someone's coming to call me. Like, I just know that these kinds of things exist. They just happen. And I'm going to be ready for it. Like, I don't know. Because I do get the clinical term of hypervigilance. And I have recognized when I used to switch into that type of hypervigilance. That anxiety-ridden, expecting fear and expecting a threat. That feels different to me than observing and watching the room and feeling it all before I get involved. Like, that's actually mindfulness skills. Let me get my little, okay, so mindfulness literally is about that. Core mindfulness skills. The goal is to increase awareness of the present moment without judgment and decrease cognitive confusion or disassociation. So what are the skills? There's what skills? What skills? Observe. Just notice your experience or attend to your senses without labeling the experience. When you label it as a threat, then you move into hypervigilance mode. So here, without labeling the experience. Describe. Use words to describe observations and sensation. I'm doing this. I walk into a room, I'm already doing this. There's a bunch of people, I'm already doing this. Someone needs a barn door for their ego. Someone's really hurt, so they're going to try, they might accidentally bleed on me. Blah, 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 blah. Using words to describe observations and sensations. What do you feel about that person? They feel like they need a barn to house that ego. Participate. Then you participate. Become one with the experience. Not before observing and describing, after. And then your how skills. non-judgmentally. Replace judgments of good or bad with facts. Now you're detaching that emotion even more because this is just facts we're looking at here. We're just looking at facts. One, mindfully attend to one thing in the moment. Just one offensive comment at a time. Effectively, identify goals and focus on what works. Act skillfully. All right. My goal is to be understood and respected. Focusing on what works. Expressing myself in effective dialectical communication way. And act skillfully. Transmute that insulting feeling into those facts and just teach somebody. Teach them what they need to know. Either it be teach them what they need to know about you and your boundaries, teach them what they need to know about the ignorance of why they made that hurtful comment, because maybe they don't know the full story, and you gotta let them know. You're gonna be like, it seems to me that you don't fully understand the capacity of what I'm trying to say. And if you'd like for me to express that deeper, I'd love to. Stuff like that. And then wise mind. Attend to inner wisdom. Balance thoughts with feelings to find a grounded certainty. In my opinion, all of these skills need to happen before anything. Before you make a move. Right? So that's also why I'm slow and deliberate. And I watch. Because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 steps to do before I got 7 more steps. Now, my favorite is when I meet people that I can feel right away I don't need this for. I love those people. I love you guys. You know who you are. Those people that are just authentic and grounded, and they have clear mind to like think about what they're gonna say before they say it. You know, people who move with intention and pure intention. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. But that's not everybody. The majority of human beings, you need these 7 steps for. And is that bad? No. Does that make you weird, broken, damaged, not okay? No, it doesn't. Does it make you different? Yeah, it makes you highly aware of yourself and others. Is that bad? No. That's a gift, and not everyone is bestowed that gift. But these are the tools to help balance and appreciate that gift and not have that gift become torturous. Observe, describe, participate, non-judgmentally, one mindfully, effectively, and wise mind. This is also why I think that it's super important that we go to isolation and start healing our traumas too before we just jump out in the world and we're like, accept me, because that's not fair either, home dog. Like, because you're not gonna view things without judgment. You are going to put judgments of good or bad with things because you're still traumatized, and that's okay. But like, take the time to recognize that you're not acting out of a trigger, which a trigger is inlaid in trauma experience. You're not always just triggered. This is what I'm realizing with my healing. I'm not just always triggered. Like, I'm not always triggered to PTSD memories and PTSD traumas and things like that. No, I'm also just offended sometimes. But how do you differentiate when you feel so deeply? How do you differentiate between being triggered and being offended? Because when you're triggered, you gotta go look at that. You gotta recognize you gotta realize that person is actually not trying to hurt you. That it was someone else who hurt you, and what they're talking about is linking those two things. So that's a trigger. But like, being offended, that's like your morals, values, and codes of ethics, and like how you are and who you are as a person, right? You're allowed to be offended. Not everything's a trigger that you gotta go home and heal and work on. It's great to self-reflect and introspect on that and make sure you're not operating from a trauma filter lens However, you're also allowed to just be offended. And that can be so hard for those of us healing from trauma. Because you're like, I don't know, man. Maybe what they're saying is completely innocent. But because of my experiences, they're the devil right now. So it's taken me a lot of time to try and differentiate these things. And then also, even if you are triggered, you're still allowed to put a boundary there as well. Yes, you need to go home and address that wound, faux show. But also, it's not healed yet. So let's talk about some boundaries so that you don't got nobody with a stick just like poking into the wound. We don't need that either. So that's another thing that goes with that self-acceptance of authenticity, because like if you got a wound, take care of it. Don't let people stick their fingers in it just because you believe that you shouldn't have the wound in the first place. I feel like that's what I would think. Like, I shouldn't be this sensitive and triggered anyway. If I didn't go through the trauma that I went through, I wouldn't. But you did. And you're biologically designed for everything you go through for your higher self, your higher purpose in life. So your higher purpose may be not sitting in that building surrounded by the wrong people, not being sensitive, not being conscientious, not thinking of others' feelings. Like, it's okay that your trauma built you into a person like that. I can't do it. I can't sit around in a room with people making fun of each other for fun. Like, and I'm not talking about like little cute jabs. Like I grew up with brothers. I know the difference between playful I love you teasing and just plain out you're trying to dismantle my self-esteem in some way. There's a difference. And I've been in a crowd of people where that's their friendship, and I just am like, I don't need to be here. It's not even happening to me. It's just happening around me, and I don't want to be around that energy. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You went through your journey on purpose to get you to be the person that you are today. And if that means you're extra sensitive, you got no tolerance for disrespect, you need to be around more loving and compassionate, conscientious people. These are all good things. I'm not hearing bad in here. Because your sensitivities now open up a new avenue for how you build your life. It's going to be softer, it's going to be slower, maybe a little more deliberate, maybe like extra tea time, like we're going to slow down with everything. We're going to do stretches, we're going to meditate, we're going to do mindfulness. Once again, not hearing bad things here. This is beautiful stuff to work with. And I don't think everyone gets chosen for that. You know, people say they want those things, but they don't have the soul, the sensitivity of their soul to really have to enforce it. Like they could just do it like every other day or just like meditate once a week or whatever. But then there's some people like myself, like this is so ingrained in who I am and how I live my life to an extent I can't not do these things. And I used to think of that as being like the whole like, oh my God, so much responsibility, right? With great power comes great responsibility. And right, I've got a great sensitivity power, but it comes with a huge responsibility of self-care. And and because of the amount of self-care I put into myself on a daily basis to just be my best self, I'm not saying the best, my best self, like my version of best, like the best I can. I need those things. I need to have those, the slow, the soft, the compassionate friends, the ones that want to connect. I need friends that want to rip out each other's heart globs so that we can like mush them together and just hug like that and then put them back in our chests. Like, that's the extremity of my friendships. Like, if you don't want to rip your chest open with me, we can't be friends. I don't do this whole, like, half in, half out shit, you know? I'm deep. So, it's hard to find other people that want to meet you on that level. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not gonna just drink poison because I'm thirsty. I'm just going to go to the right building. I'm going to find my building. It's out there. And if you think It doesn't exist. Keep cutting out the things that are around you right now that aren't working, and you'll see that it exists. It'll appear. You're just not looking. You're not looking in the right place. And you got too much distraction and shit filling up your perception, so you don't realize to find, like, maybe you don't even know what color your building is, and that's why you gotta sit with yourself longer. And you're like, oh, well, my building's the pink one. I know because I'm sitting with myself long. Like, mine would be like a burnt orange sunset color with lots of gray accents. Why? Because that's like the first image I go to when I clear my mind and just want to like contact my soul. I see the image of a burning sunset amidst a black gray thunderstorm scenario. Like, that's amazing. Like, I love that. But that goes into playing into the fact that I am very sensitive, but yes, I am also very outgoing, which is tough too. It's hence all of the... Because I can't just be outgoing. Like, as much as, like, my Leo side of myself wants to just, like, unbridle and just be like, rah, we're lying. I have the Cancer moon. I have a sensitive-ass moon. So it's like a lion walking around the pride being like, rah, I'm a lion, and look at my lionness. And the lion's just dragging, like, a smaller, like, you know, more cuddly, like, prey animal, not like a predator, and it's just like dragging it behind it, and it's like, don't you want to be a lion too? And it's like, oh, why is too much? Like, that's what it feels like to be a Leo with a Cancer moon sometimes. So it's like, yes, it's like you feel filled when you're having like good conversation and you're laughing and like everything's going well and you're making people laugh and like it's all good, but then at the same time that amount of attention attracts anybody, not just the friends that I mentioned I need, like the ones that are going to be heart connecting, the ones that are going to be conscientious and compassionate. So being loud like that, being bright like the sun like that, you just attract everybody because everybody just assumes you're like everybody's person, you know, which is nice. I'm glad people have that feeling, but then you get close enough to me and I'm not confident in that way. I am a confident human being, but I'm not bold in the way that like I'm gonna let you steamroll over my emotions. So I feel like that's where the contradiction comes from. Like, yeah, I'm everybody's best friend, but at the same time I'm not. It's like moths to the flame because we're all having a good time, but then once you get close enough, I'm like, actually, no to you. So I watch that. I do more of the mindfulness, do more of the observing, and I only really like unleash that in my own little safety group with the people that I feel like we have worked together long enough to earn each other's comfort and respect and trust. Don't just like go everywhere like that. I forget why I started talking about that. Oh, because that's that imagery. Like when I ask, like when I'm like, what's my soul like? Like when I really look into my unseen version of self, like it's that thunderstorm, burning sunset, gray and bright orange. Like, and that's where I also figured out, like, I'm sad, but there's such beauty in sadness. So like, is it a bad thing? No, it's not. I used to think about it all the time. Like, it's so bad. It's really not. Accept it and watch it doesn't linger anymore. Because, like, that's how I've learned to work with that. Like, the sad is going to be there. Just address it. What does it need? What do you need today? Maybe you need a little more comfy. Maybe a little more slow time. Or maybe you need to just cry. Maybe you need to go look at a cute animal and feed it and then cry over it. Like, you could just tell sometimes when you've been holding back too long of releasing. Like, we just need to get it out sometimes and then you could just move on. But if you don't accept it. The first step to changing an emotion is accepting the emotion you're currently in. So if you have like a particular way or a state of being that you just have noticed about yourself, accept it. Accept it. If you want to change it or grow upon it or evolve your state of being, accept where you are right now with like full love, compassion, and understanding. Like, hey, You're great and I love you the way you are. However, you want to work on recognizing, honoring sad girl and sensitive. So you want to start working on more boundaries and whatever. That's great. That's great. We can do that together. Let's do it. But first, I need you to know you're fine the way you are. It's just other people we need to learn to interact with. You know, or whatever the situation is, just accept that you're fine. Like, it's all good. Of course we want to evolve in certain aspects, and we want to grow in certain aspects, and we want to heal in certain aspects. But it doesn't come from self-hatred or telling self that they're not good enough. Oh, you're not good enough. Like, no, you're good enough. You're fine. You're perfect the way you are. But you also want to try A, B, and C. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. But if it doesn't work out, doesn't matter. We return to center and we try something else, you know. Self-acceptance breeds self-actualization. Am I saying that right? That just came to my head, and now I need to, like, Google what self-actualization means. That happens to me a lot, too. Like, you just get it. Right, it is! Self-acceptance. Thank you, channeled universe message. So self-acceptance is the catalyst to self-actualization, which is the process of becoming the best version of oneself and realizing one's full potential. I should write that down. That needs to become a meme or something. Okay, now I feel like I made it weird. Self-acceptance breeds self-actualization. Let's get rid of the breeding word. I'll figure that out. I gotta get this down real quick, though. I'm gonna have to listen back and remember what I said. Okay. Which I don't like doing, because, like, who likes that? I don't know. Self-acceptance is the first step to self-actualization. Same with changing an emotion. The first step is accepting the emotion you're currently in. Alright, cool. This is good. Some good work today, folks. I'm still a paper person. I don't know about you guys. Like, paper. I don't know. I do my best with, like, the recycled paper and stuff like that. Like, I try to be conscientious about the environment. But at the same time, like, I've got folders, like actual folders with files, and it's just something about it. It's easier on my mind. All right, guys, this has been great. Let's do another one tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Be you. Be true. Be true. Be you. And remember, if someone's saying some disrespectful shit, but they're trying to come off like they're being nice, you just say, "Thank you. And I appreciate you," and you walk away. Okay? Have a good one. Because they're teaching you, you're in the wrong building. Have a good one.